What's up, YouTube? Mano here. So I got quite a lot of requests for this one. And no one really specified exactly which parts they wanted broken down. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through the song. And just here and there pick out a couple of things that I think is interesting. And then I'll share it with you guys. And I just want to say this up front. I didn't go through the whole song. Okay, I went through just up to the second verse, I think. If the thing that you wanted was after that, please let me know. Let me know if you want like part 2 of this. If you do, I'll update the title and I'll put part 2. Okay, so if enough people want part 2, I'll make another one. Just to go through the rest of the song. But for now, I think there's quite a bit in here that we can do. Okay, so, still. So the song is in the key of D flat. I'll just put the basic progressions in the screen above so you can just have a look at that. Now keep that there just as a reference. Okay, I'm not going to go break those things down necessarily. Okay, you should know that. So let's just start getting into it. Okay, so the first part, we're going to go verse and then chorus and then the second verse. Okay, so the first part of the song goes 1, 7, 6 to the 1. So that's usually how the song goes. So what it does on this one, instead of playing the root position, okay, with the 1, it keeps this right hand chord. So it keeps the D flat, but it adds that major 7. And instead of playing the chord from a root position, it plays it from second inversion. Okay. Okay, so that's the chord. So instead of going 1, 7, 6, 1 to the 4, he goes 1, 7, 6, and does this chord, which is a 1 over 5. So that's the first part. And then over the 4 chord, instead of playing the normal G flat major chord, this is the voicing he uses. Okay, so that's a major 7 with this 13. So that's a major 7 with the 13. Okay, so you use this chord a lot on the 4. Okay, so you play left hand G flat, D flat, A flat, right hand you have B flat, you have an F, and a B flat, okay? And you just kind of grace note from the E flat to the F. Okay, so that's in the 4 chord. So to the 2 major, to the 5, okay, then it goes. Okay, and I think the first verse, there's not much else. Okay, so now the chorus. Okay, so usually when we get to the chorus, the structure is 1, 4, 5 to the 1. Okay. So the voicing we're gonna use for these chords, for the 4 and the 5, is on the 4, we have that chord again. Okay, so we have that 7 on the 13th. And on the 5, it plays this voicing. Very nice voicing. It's A flat, okay, with the add 9. Okay, those are the notes. Okay, so we're just rearranging those notes. Okay. It's the same notes, just rearranged, okay? So it's basically just a different voicing of the same chord. Okay, so the chorus usually goes 4 to the 5 to the 1. Okay, so instead of doing that, you went. Okay, so let's break those chords down. So on the 4, he has the same major chord I just showed you, which is the major 7, 13. Okay, grace note from the 13th. Okay, and then on the 5, instead of playing an A flat, he added that 9th. Okay, so we added the B flat. And then instead of going to the 1 with the A flat on top, he goes to a 4 chord with the A flat on top. And this chord is also just a normal, like a G flat with the add 9, okay, but just a different voicing once again. Okay, so left hand we have a B flat, D flat, G flat, A flat, D flat, then we have a G flat again, A flat. It's basically add 9, A sharp add 9. So it sounds. Okay. So the next part of the chorus goes 1, 4 to the 3 major, to the 6. Okay, so that's what usually happens. Okay, so what he did was, okay, so that's what he did instead. So what he did was, over the 4, same chord, and then he went 7, 3, 6. So instead of going 4 major, 3 major, 6, he went 4 major, 7, 3, 6. Okay, so he added one more chord there. Okay, so over the 7, we have this chord. So it's like a C dominant with a flat 9. Okay, but we're just rearranging these notes. Okay, so that's over the 7. So we have a C, E, D flat, E, and a B flat. That's over the 7. Over the 3, usually it's an F major chord. What we're gonna do, we are gonna play the F major chord, but we're first gonna add a sus. So we first added like a sus 4. Then we went to the F. Okay, so left hand, same thing. Okay, so I went. And when you drop to the F, that's when you play this melody. Okay, so I went. Then went like A flat. Okay, so that sounds. Okay. So the next part of the chorus goes 1 to the 4 to the 5 to the 1, then it goes 6, 2, 5 to the 1. Okay, that's what usually happens. So what he does here is, so let me just play that again, start talking. Okay, that's what usually happens. So what he did was, okay, so that's what he did. So let's go into that. Like I said, initially we go 4, 5 to the 1. Okay, so what he does essentially is he goes 4, then it goes flat 5, 7, 3, 6. So essentially he's moving in circles. Okay, circle of 4s. So over that flat 5, essentially what he has is a minor 7 flat 5. Okay, which is basically like a minor third. Okay, so minor chord over the minor third over 1. So if you're in the key of G, you go up the minor third, you play minor chord on that minor third, which is B flat. Okay, so that's in your right hand over the G. And then on the 7, we have this chord, which is essentially the same chord I showed you initially. So I have C, E, B flat, D flat, E, and A flat. And then on the F chord, we have the same chord we used on the G. So if you take this chord, if you take it down a whole step, it's the same chord, okay? So it's that minor 7 flat 5. And this little walk up is just the diminished chord. And this is the melody for the diminished chord. So the melody goes. So that's F, G flat, A flat. And you're just playing diminished chords over that. Okay, but you're playing drop 2s. But before he does that, he does his little pickup notes. Okay, so the whole move over the 1, 4, flat 5, 7, 3, that diminished to the 2. Okay. So that's the whole move. After that, he does this little thing on the bridge just to get us to the verse again, which is okay, then he goes back to the verse again. So essentially on that bridge, that little chord that he played there, so all he did was he went up a minor third. Okay, so he went from the key of C sharp to the key of E. And then on the key of E, he played a little melody, you can hear it sounds like it's in the key of E. Okay. But instead of staying on the E, he played a 5 in the key of E. Okay, which is a 4 chord. This is a 4 major 7. Or A major 7 in the key of E. Okay, but we're doing that over 5. Okay, so it's essentially a 4 chord over 5. Okay, and after you play this chord, the 4 over 5, you play the same chord, but this time in the key of D flat. Just to take you back to the key of D flat. So we go 5 chord in the key of E, 5 chord in the key of C sharp, and then resolve back to this C sharp. Okay, so it goes. So the melody goes. Okay, left hand does the same thing. And then after that we go to the 5 in the key of D flat. Back to the key of D flat. Okay, so now we're back into the verse. Okay, so in the verse there's a few more things it does, and I think that's it for the lesson. So let me just show you the couple of things he did in the verse. Okay, so the verse usually goes 1, 5, 6 to the 1. Okay, to the 4, to the 2, to the 5. Okay, so that's what usually happens. So what he did was for the second verse was something like this. Okay, he did that little melody and then he went. Okay, so what that was okay, the melody was, he played a little melody essentially that took him to the 5 minor. Okay, which is typically the chord you go to before you do like a 5, 1, 4, okay, or 2, 5, 1, however you want to look at that. Okay, so basically went to the 5 minor chord, and the melody was. Okay, in the left hand, you kind of harmonize with that. So when. Okay, which is a minor third. Okay, so that's why it's A flat minor. And then after that, this is still in the minor chord. So this minor, remember we ended in the minor third. Okay, we ended in the minor third. Now we went down an octave and started on that minor third again. Okay, and then this time it went up. Okay, and then he jumped from the E flat to the G flat. But on the G flat, he went like a B major chord. Okay. Okay, which is fine because if you look at the minor chord, the A flat minor chord, if you play minor 7. Okay, so if you change this chord to a minor 7, you have a B chord in there. Okay, so that's why this still works. That's why it's still on a minor chord. So he goes. Then he plays that minor chord. Okay, so it's still a minor chord, still a 2. And then after that, it resolves to a D flat dominant. So there's your D flat major chord. And we add that flat 7. So you went from a 5 minor to a 1 dominant. Using like little melodies. Okay, so we went. Okay. Ended on a minor third. Went down an octave. Play that minor third again. Walked up, and then he went to B minor chord. Okay, and then went to the C. C dominant. So the whole thing. Okay. And then there's one more move that he did that I want to show you. I'm just trying to figure out where he did it. Okay, so the next thing he did was like a substitution for the 5 chord. Okay, specifically this 5 chord. So the A flat major chord with the E flat on top. Okay, so this was a substitution for this chord. Okay, so I went. So let's play that verse again. 1, 5, 6, 5. Okay, 4. To the flat 5, to the 5. You see, this is where you play that chord. So what he did was, he didn't just play this chord, he did a whole substitution, okay? And that substitution was, so let me just play that again. So instead of doing that, he went. Okay, so that's what it did instead of playing a 5 chord. Yeah. Okay, so the way some guys think, okay, so like I said, instead of playing this 5 chord, first chord is substituted was it went 7, 3, 6. So all that whole thing works. Okay, so you go 1, 5, 6. Okay, then it goes 4 to the 5, and then you go 1. So after that you go to a 1. Okay, usually. So what it did essentially is substituted this 1 chord for a 6 chord. Okay, it's a very common move that you can do. Okay, and to get us to that 6, that's where you put in the whole 7, 3, 6. So you went circular again. You went 7, 3, 6. Okay, so on the 7 we have that minor 7 flat 5 chord again. Okay, which is essentially E flat minor chord over C. You play like a grace note to the B flat. Okay, so you went. Okay, and then you play this little melody. Okay, which is a dominant chord. We went from a 7 to F dominant. Okay, F dominant. And then on that dominant, after he played the dominant, he did like a diminished walk up. And the diminished walk up is the same as the other one. It's basically using that half whole diminished scale. So you go from this diminished chord, go up a half step, up a whole step. We're doing the same thing, but this time getting us to the 6. So it goes. So it goes diminished chord, half, whole, and then he jumps in inversion. And then he lands on the 6. Okay. So this is the melody. So the melody usually would have landed on this F. Okay, so D flat major with F on top. Okay, but we substituted that with the A, but still have this F on top. But this time we played a diminished chord to get us to that F melody. Okay, and those chords are all diminished chords. Okay, and on the first diminished chord, he didn't just play the normal diminished chord, he put out this little chromatic walk up to the A. Okay, because this is a diminished chord, playing a drop 2, which is A. Instead of just playing the A regularly, it did like a little walk up to that A. Okay, something like that. Okay, so the whole move, 7, F dominant, and there you go. To the 6. Okay, so in context, okay, guys, that's the moves I want to share with you. Like I said, I went up to that point. I don't want this video to be too long because I know people don't watch those long videos. Okay, so if you, like I said, if you wanted to see the part 2, let me know. Leave a comment. Let me know. Okay, you want to see what happens afterwards. Okay, but if that was enough, if you got what you wanted, perfect. Okay, so guys, that's it. If you enjoyed this sort of thing, click the link below. I have a video where I shot 10 of my favorite chords and licks. So if you enjoyed this, I think you'll enjoy that. So click the link below and I'll see you again real soon. Thank you. God bless. Bye-bye.